Have you ever wondered about humanity on a consciousness evolution journey? About how our evolution in consciousness can impact on being the change that we want to see in the world, and how this journey impacts on climate change, on living more sustainably? Well, in this video, I'm interviewing Stephanie Mines, and this is exactly what we'll be talking about. If you're not familiar with this Finding Joy channel, I'm Deb Swanfelt, and I've had over 30 years as a stress and trauma therapist, looking at the impact of stress and trauma on human consciousness. And at this point, this journey is about how we shift our consciousness from living out, replaying old stress patterns, into finding the joy that we are and using that energy to transform how we live on planet Earth. And in this video, I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Stephanie Mines, a neuroscientist who's in the process of creating CCC19, which is Climate Change and Consciousness 2019. This is a climate change conference whose mission is to really look at how we can all become better stewards of the planet and transform how we live on planet Earth. Let's jump in now. So welcome back, and here we are with Dr. Stephanie Mines again. We are talking about CCC19, Climate Change and Consciousness 2019. And in today's interview, what we're going to be looking at is the evolution in consciousness that our human species is undergoing. Humanity's on a consciousness evolution journey, and somehow this is part of your visioning, Stephanie, of the climate change conference that's happening in Findhorn in April. So the quote that I have that I'd really love us to sort of unpack a little bit and just feel into is from Lao Tzu, thousands of years ago. The key to growth is the introduction of higher dimensions of consciousness into our awareness. So how does this energy of higher dimensions of consciousness and our awareness, our conscious awareness, how does this impact on the climate change consciousness that we're in the process of formulating into, a new narrative, really?
Well, the threat of climate change has been building for some time. There has been at least 2 decades of research that has prophesized the level of threat that we are now facing. But for many people in the world, the threat is imminent. The threat is now in our faces. And at long last, the media and the political world is prioritizing the magnitude of danger that our entire planet is in and the devastating implications for humanity and for the children of the future. So as I am experiencing this myself, I would say that this magnitude of the awareness of threat has become the instigation for an arousal of higher consciousness. So many of us think of higher levels of consciousness evolving over time through years of meditation and prayer and isolation and living in a lifestyle that's removed from society. Something very different is happening now. The magnitude of threat has primarily 2 prongs of impact. One prong is despair.
Yes.
People losing hope, people collapsing, actually regressing in terms of their consciousness because they feel the daunting nature of the challenge. But the other option is available to everyone. And that is the option, and please bear with me as I say this, I am not being frivolous, I am not being casual. It's something I'm experiencing personally and that I see others experiencing. It's the option of falling madly in love. It's the option of, from a neuroscience standpoint, the fusion of dopamine and oxytocin. So it's immersing yourself in this global sense of love for the planet, for humanity, and for children. As a mother and a grandmother, to me, this medicine is coming very much in the form of how much I love my children, my grandchildren, and thereby the children of the world. And my passionate maternal instinct to not leave them in a threatening state is one aspect of the love that has taken me now beyond what I thought I was capable of, and finding myself thinking and acting in fields that I had never experienced before. So that is the power of falling in love, the power of dopamine, which is fueled through the experience of curiosity, and the power of love for humanity, for the earth, for nature, to actually create neuroresilience, a physiological expansion of human brain potential, which is the meaning of this time. So there is the very threatening implications of the science, which, thank God, people are now actually reading and being informed about. But there also is the arousal of the nervous system in a healthy, passionate response to protecting the children of the future, to advocating for the earth, to being the voice of the voiceless. And really, it's just the experience of that and the sustained willingness to be in that experience that will by itself change your brain. You don't necessarily have to invest in reading all the data. You don't necessarily have to go off and meditate for another decade. It's now what is happening is in the moment. So steeping yourself in the love, the foundation of love that has always been there inside you, will actually jumpstart a cascade of neuroresilient neurohormones that will give you the intelligence you need to step up and make a difference. That's the higher consciousness that I see as the last C in climate change and consciousness.
And I think, you know, what you're speaking to there, Stephanie, for me is so powerful because, you know, locally, as we're sort of developing a hub here in Orillia, Ontario, you know, one of the things we're looking at is what are the values that draw people together rather than create divisiveness and that sort of, overwhelm. It's too much for me to look at climate change if it's all going to be sort of doom and gloom and catastrophe, because there's enough of that happening on the planet. But what you're speaking, so, you know, we've come up with things like moral responsibility. And I do believe in that. You know, I do believe that I have personally a moral responsibility, an ethical responsibility to do whatever I can to leave the earth in better shape than what it is now, you know, in whatever ways are given to me personally in my life. But beyond that, I think what you're speaking to is so powerful. And it's been my experience, you know, in the short period of time, you know, maybe 2 months most, that I've been sort of looking at this and really beginning to wonder about organizing a local hub here. What you're speaking to around the neurochemical reactions has really happened in my life. I feel more joy. I feel more connected, rooted in the earth in a way that's new for me. I feel the work that I'm doing with Nature Spirits, which I've been doing for a couple of years now, well, probably about 5 years now, on a conscious and intentional level, has deepened, and new doors are opening up, new possibilities are opening up. For me personally, this is about collaborative work where we all feel re-inspired. We all feel like there's good and juicy stuff to celebrate already happening. So yes, we can look at, you know, some of the catastrophic events, and I'm not minimizing those at all. You know, I look at California burning and my heart sinks. You know, I hear about things that are happening in other parts of the world, weather related, and my heart sinks. But what buoys me up, what creates resiliency in me, is what you're speaking to. When I lean into love and passion for the earth and all her people, not just our human family, but all the beings who are here on the planet. And when I look at how can I help in my own small way, there's just this surge of energy that fills me up that I feel like allows, you know, when we look at consciousness, you know, I think about David Hawkins' work on the levels of consciousness. Fear, you know, fear and catastrophe and anxiety, they're so low on that scale. They're sort of below 200. And what we're talking about is people's consciousness when we open to what's possible and move up to that level of 500, which is love, in his way of sort of categorizing the levels of human consciousness. That's a massive shift, but it brings with it new solutions. Because, you know, even Albert Einstein said you can't solve a problem within the same field within which the problem emerged. And to me, that is so applicable in what we're talking about. If we stay immersed in fear and overwhelm, then those are the, you know, even in our brains, neurologically speaking, then that's what continues to be re-triggered, and our brain continues to go on the hamster wheel of stress and overwhelm, and the solutions that we see are based only on that one small way of looking at the possibilities. When we expand into love, new solutions appear.
And I want to really emphasize what you're sharing about how that joy makes itself known in the process. I want to quote from Xiuhtezcatl Martinez, who is one of the young people who is a presenter at Climate Change and Consciousness. He's just written a book called We Rise, and he talks about his passion for bringing his tribe together and being just enormously inspired in his activism and enjoying the process. It's okay to enjoy the process. Xiuhtezcatl is a rapper, a musician, a poet, a singer. We can be all of those celebratory parts of ourselves while we face this daunting challenge. In fact, we must. So that's the consciousness. That's climate change and consciousness, or consciousness and climate change.
So, beautiful ones, if this sings in your heart and you want to become part of the process, I'm going to put links in the description below, as well as I'll put cards, I think they're up there, you can link to some of the other videos that Stephanie and I have done. One on creating local hubs that might be very helpful for you. One about her original vision, and there's another one that's her original vision that I wasn't a part of explaining that, but all of those I will put into iCards and into the description below, as well as links to books and resources from the presenters that might be helpful as well. We will be talking some more, Stephanie and I, about some of the presenters and what they are likely to be presenting about. So stay tuned. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed this. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when some of our new videos come out. We will put them all into the folder about climate change. Thank you so much, Stephanie. This is Dr. Stephanie Mines, who's had this amazing vision about being the change that we are wanting to see on the planet. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Thank you so much, Stephanie. It's been an honor chatting with you again, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you so much for watching this conversation with Dr. Stephanie Mines. Please comment below question of the day: what touched you most in this conversation, and how can it inspire you forwards? If there are other topics that you're wanting us to explore together, please write that down in the comments below. And finally, if you are wanting to be part of this movement and to connect with Stephanie Mines, please leave your information below, and I will ensure that the link between Stephanie Mines and you is made to promote more ongoing hubs in different communities around the world about being the change that we want to see and creating climate change together. Thanks so much for watching, dear ones. Bye for now.